Ghetto Flower interview. So how you doing, Nico?
Good, man. Happy to be here because I know we were trying to do this like a minute ago, so it's cool to be able to get together on this.
Yeah,
you know, we've been supporting y'all for a long time. Y'all been doing the same, so it's cool to finally like come together and shit.
Definitely. So we'll start by pretty much just starting out with the beginning of your career. So pretty much how'd you start making music?
So I was going to Loyola for my freshman year, like 2016, 2017. And like at the end of it, I had like flirted with the idea of doing music, but obviously I was going to school, so it was kind of just like, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. But then like at the end of the year, I had a moment where I worked at an office. Basically, it's like the spot in the school where people get in trouble. I just worked there. So I had a moment where like the lady was like, we were watching all these kids graduate, and she was like, that'll be you in 4 years. But like for me, I was seeing like music. I was seeing everything else. So like I didn't see myself doing that. And at that moment, I was like, bro, like I can't stay here. Like I'm just gonna like waste my time. Like I know I wasn't, like I would be in class like not really paying attention, like thinking about like, okay, how could I like make it, like thinking of all this shit for music and not thinking about school at all. So then like once I kind of like basically just grew the balls to like tell my mom and like tell people like, yo, I'm gonna just like get out of school and try this shit. And just kind of like got the ball rolling. But then like obviously I'm starting like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like I don't have no, like I don't really know the fucking studio. I don't know how to like do it until it's just kind of like, I think that first step, like for anybody trying to do like music or anything, it's just that it just takes that step. Because obviously it's one of those things when you don't have like any type of like background in it, you don't really know anybody doing it, it feels like this big thing. And obviously I think when you tell somebody like either I'm trying to like paint, I'm trying to like do anything like creatively, I feel like you always get people that are kind of like, I mean it is a long shot, not everybody's able to do it, but I think it's just like, for me it's like you just got to get that ball rolling. So it kind of came down to like, once I started like, I ended up going to Guitar Center trying to like buy the equipment, and then I found a guy that worked there that he just had a studio. So then me and him linked, and I worked there for a little bit, but he got shut down because ComEd came, because I guess they had just gotten there and they were like in the middle of building the studio while recording. So I guess ComEd came for the old people that were there, but then when they got there, they were like, what are y'all doing? And then they ended up shutting his whole shit down. So at that point, I was like, fuck, like what am I gonna do? And then at that point, I had been listening like to Smino for a while, and then doing more research on Smino, I found out he was at Classic Studios. I like researched Classics, found fucking like where you can like book to get in the studio, and then I found the engineer that I've been making like a bunch of music. I was trying to work with Smino's engineer because I had been listening to Smino's music. Right. It was just something I was like, fuck, like so like how would I know? But then like in my head, I was like, he's gonna be like, you know, you see Elton's like always out like doing stuff. I was like, if I need somebody that's gonna be Chicago, I'd rather use like somebody else. So I ended up just finding the guy that I work with now. And that kind of was just like, after that, like shit just started happening. Like he was at school and he would come to the city and like take photos and stuff. So he was kind of doing his own thing, and I was just like making music, and we ended up just kind of like coming together because I saw like he's really good with just like being able to start conversations with people and just be like natural. Where like, you know, I feel like some people like, instead of like, I feel like coming to somebody just like talking to them, they'll come up and be like, hey bro, I got this, I got that, like I got this music, like you just gotta listen to me. It's like, I feel like a lot of people like, I don't know, to me it's like, there's a way to approach somebody when you don't know who the fuck they are. If you don't know this person, you're just running up like, hey bro, I need you to look at this, blah, blah, blah. Like it's just kind of like, there's ways to approach people, and I feel like he's good at just like starting a conversation. I feel like a lot of our like connections have been that way because we just gotten to know people. And then like, I think there's like, y'all know, I think just Chicago, it's like, there's like, it's a community in a lot of ways. So I think it's like, the more you get to know everybody, the more you make connections, it just kind of like, it helps out like that. So like, long story short, that's kind of like the story behind that. So yeah.
I feel you. So that's interesting. So you said like over time you like grew that sense of like, yeah, I need to go this music route. But was there like a certain like pivotal like moment where it's like, yeah, fuck this, like I want to do this shit like for real, for real?
I'm trying to think if there's like a moment. I don't think it's really be a moment. I think it's just kind of like staying persistent. Because I think there's definitely moments where like I used to tell him like we'd have a show on like the weekend, then I'd have to go like work my job. Where it's kind of like the highs of the highs and the lows of the low. Where you're like, I'll be at like a show and it's like, oh, you start feeling like, oh man, I could really do this shit. And then you gotta go work a regular job. It's like everybody, you know, you gotta do both. So I think it's just been like as time's gone and I've been able to like just accomplish more. I think for me it's just like doing stuff is like, I feel like you can feel that way, but for me it's just kind of been like with time and like experience and stuff, it's just been making me feel like, all right, we can actually do this. I think just the work, putting in the work for me has just been the thing that's like showing us that we can actually do it. And I think just like I think when you start something, you gotta believe in it. Like if you don't, how do you expect other people to do it? Like it's gotta start with you. And then obviously, I think it's like that balance of you gotta believe, but you also gotta do the work. Because if you just saying it, it's not gonna fucking happen if you're not doing it. So I think it comes from that.
Definitely. Well, speaking on your team, I know you have a great team around you. You put out great music and definitely great things. So speak on your team.
So Marquise, I've known, he's my manager. I've known him since he was a junior. I was a freshman in high school. And then, like I said, when he went to college for a little bit, that's when I kind of started, when I was going to school. And then him coming back to the city just helped us just reconnect. And then we just kind of got the ball rolling where he was able to, like, connect me with a lot of people that, like, I needed, whether it was, like, videos, like, studio time. We were just able to, like, connect on that. And then off camera, it's my videographer, Jimmy, who I met, was it the beginning of last year?
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
it was
so I met him through my homie Dave, who I put a lot of his clothes up from the Slacker stuff. And then it's one of those things like knowing somebody that knows somebody. And then me and him connected at a show that I had. Was it like Sub T? Was that show?
Yeah, it was
Sub T. Dave's cousin threw the show, and he was at the show. So I ended up just like, it was another event where like, you just make a lot of these connections, and there's people that, I'm still cool with them to today. But like me and him, it worked out where like, we connected where he fucked with my music. I kind of needed, I think for me, like I worked with a lot of videographers, but it was nice to get somebody that like was as invested as I was in the music, or at least like wanted to like throw ideas back and forth. Cause I think like, I get it too, like when you're a videographer, I get like some dudes are just trying to make their money and do what they gotta do and they're just trying to work. But like, it was nice to have somebody that like was trying to like bounce ideas off me, trying to figure out how to really like, cause I think that's what kind of like took my videos up, is it was like, I was able to like bounce more ideas off. Or like before, we would just kind of like bring the idea to the videographer and we just kind of like figure out that day. It was a lot more like organized and us really like planning out shit. And I think that's how you really make like really dope videos. Like you gotta like plan. I mean, some shit is just organic. Some of them are just, some good videos are just you like rapping to a camera. Some videos it works for that. But I think like at a certain point, it's like you can't do that every video, bro. Like at a certain point, it's like motherfuckers want to see more. Yeah, you gotta switch it up. So I think it's just like, we've been able to kind of like branch out and try different stuff and do different videos and stuff as we've just been able to develop. But he can kind of tell his part on like.
Yeah, I've been managing Nico since I'm something like that. But nah, yeah, I started managing him back in like 2018 fall. I was in college and I was working in an art studio and I'm like, damn, this is kind of boring. So I was trying to figure out like what I wanted to do. So when I started taking photos. The first concert I ever did was like Famous Dex. I went to a show with Famous Dex with like Valet, and the photos came out decent. And like, see that Honcho team hit me up, and I'm like, damn, y'all really want these photos? But they didn't see my bread, and I'm like, oh yeah, people don't take me seriously. So then I think after a while, I was on SoundCloud just listening to music. Like I started listening to like people Lyrical Lemonade was putting out like Lil Skies, Young Bands, and then one day I'm on there and I see Nico. I'm like, wait, this. It's my little homie from high school, so I hear this line, I'm sharing this music. I'm like I peep you putting out music. So then one day I hit him up, I'm like, you trying to do a photo shoot? He's like, yeah, so we slide to the city, get a shoot in, and then I'm going to all these events. Do you guys know who These Days are? These Days News? Like my homies like interning for them, so like I'm going to like a bunch of events. I mean, they team. So I'm just meeting people. Yeah. And so then I tell him, like, I need to introduce you a couple people that can probably help you out with what you got going on. So then I guess that summer of 2018 hit, he invited me to the studio. Nico did. And I'm like, damn, this shit raw. Like, it's cool to be in the studio. And he was like, man, I think you should be my manager. Like, just because I think you can help me get, to where I want to be. And I was like.
Plus, we had known each other so long, it was just, like, natural. Like, we were already homies, so it was just kind of, like, was a natural. But then, like I said, like he was already kind of doing the stuff that I feel like a manager should do. He just, like I said, he had that skill of just connecting with people. Yeah. And I feel like that's like half the battle is just like getting your foot in the door. Like after that, obviously you got to grow the like relationships with people. Yeah. But it's like most people can't even like get in that door because it's politicking a lot of times. Yeah. You're trying to like get to know people. You got to be able to talk and just like.
A lot of people don't realize that. Like, like artists. That way. Yeah. So it's good that you realize like, yo, like you need someone on your team that can help you.
Yeah. That's why I just like I think he does it very naturally. Where like I think I've grown into that role, but when I was starting, I was just like. Also, I think I was so focused on just trying to do the music. I wouldn't have like we probably wouldn't have gotten those opportunities because I just would have been, you know, focused on whatever I was doing. So it was nice to like spread the work. 'Cause like I said, I think also just when I was doing it by myself, I was like, it'd be nice to just have like somebody just focus on that, and I can focus on my shit. Like I said, it's just like nice that then like having like him doing videos. Now we just have somebody. Okay, like you do the videos, and we can worry about this shit. It's just nice like when you know like, all right, this person can do this. It's like I think that's what we learned about having like a team of people. It's like, okay, this person does this. It's like less shit to worry about because you know like when you're trying to like do all this shit. So you know at a certain point, it's like it's a lot of stuff. So just I feel like people think like. I think if you really want to, like, as you grow and you want to do more stuff, whether it's, like, marketing stuff, like you said, like, if you want shirts, keychains and stuff, like, that takes, like, research, looking up this stuff, like, it takes a lot of work. So if you don't, like, you could do it by yourself, and I think there's people that do that, and I commend them, but I think it also helps to have, like, people you can trust, that you can, like, you know, you can,
especially
if they can do it, they can do it, like, so you're not, like, killing yourself, like, running around doing all that shit.
Labor, like, you know, it's all part of one mission. Like, trying to accomplish the same thing. So,
exactly. Especially with social media being a big thing. Like, he had his roommate's a graphic designer, so his name Christian, and like, dude is like the best when it comes to like giving us content to put on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook for after a project drops. There's always like some creative design that he came up with, some little video that we could put on social media that catch people's attention. Because, you know, you can't just be posting a song and a cover all the time. So you got to just, like, give some flavor to it. So, like, Chris is really good at doing that. Like, he's always, like, you know, he'd be at the crib for, like, 6 hours and, like, those just texting us a bunch of stuff. And we're like, yeah, bro, this is very needed for what we're going to do when the project comes out or whatever song is coming out at the time. So, yeah.
That's definitely what's up. I feel like you definitely have grown since like since like the first time I heard you. So speak on like the first like single that you like put out.
I think like the first song ever.
Yeah, first song ever. Yeah, first song ever.
I think
you bringing it back.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to think. I think I remember more the video because that's when me and him started doing it. Because like the songs were just like on SoundCloud and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was just like early stuff. I was just. Like, I joke, like, it's like a baby. Like, I was just a baby trying to figure out what the fuck I was... Like, I didn't really... Like I said, like, just trying to figure out, like... I was told, like, being in the studio, you learn, like... Just, like, how to be in the studio. Because it's one thing I feel like when you're just recording, like, just, like... Or when you're, like, writing it in your room or, like, just, like, practicing that shit. Whether when you're in front of, like, a mic, you gotta know, like, the right distance when you're in front of a mic. Like, how to be in the... Like, it's just, like... I kind of took me time to, like, really learn... Like how I wanted to be in the studio, so I think that kind of showed. And even like being in the studio, I noticed like with just how the songs progress, like I get more comfortable in the studio, the music would come out better. So I know like Surreal was the first like video and like song that we really I think like
pushed,
came together and pushed. Because everything else was just kind of like I throw it on this like I was just like throwing it out because it was just what I was making. Where I was just trying to figure out like what am I doing. And I think when we started getting more direction was like when we were just like. Trying to, if we shot, like, we did a song, we tried to shoot a video with it. And it was just kind of like, that was like the start of us trying to like figure out how we wanted to do stuff. Where like now, I think like more recently when we dropped like a video and a song like every 2 weeks or something about that, like that was kind of like the updated version where like we had all these songs like stacked up that I had just been working on. We'd been through just like before we were just figuring out just dropping one song in a video. We've been able to like develop. I think it's just like I said with time, it's just been able to develop like the skills to just be able to like do more and more and then like do more in like a precise way, I guess. So it's just, I think it's just, growth has been a big thing. Like it's funny that y'all say like, I think so too, just like the growth has come in just like the time we put in and just like being in the studio, like dropping music, like just learning from, also I think like we just had to learn from stuff. Like if something didn't go right, instead of, I feel like a lot of people, that's another thing too, you gotta learn like, if something doesn't go right, it's not like, in that moment, you might feel like, dang, like, this sucks. But I feel like what I've learned is just like, it's just like, you might mess up on this, but it's just, there's lessons to get out of that. So it's just like,
let's try something.
Yeah, let's try something else. Or then like, that's how it's coming from. It's just like, the more we try stuff, the more you learn. Even if it doesn't go exactly well, or maybe it's like, it does well, but you still see, okay, we can do a little bit better on this. I think that's where we've kind of like, as time we've gotten better, just like, finding the holes in what we're doing, and just like, working on like, what we can do better on the next one. And like I said, I think that's come with like the growth. Like I think people have noticed that too. Just and it's just been. I think it's just really been just us putting in like the time. I don't think it's necessarily that we're doing something better or something that we're doing is like some special thing. I think it's just like I think anybody that sees like you do it, like anything you do, it's like what the 10,000 hour rule. Like the more you do something, the better you get. So I think that really is the thing. It's just like the more you like spend like the time putting it on your craft, the better you're gonna get. So it's really just about like the time.
I wanted to ask y'all about the track "Good Life." So I know y'all dropped that last year, and like y'all did the video and like had a pretty good rollout for that. And I know like you sort of dedicated that track to Mac Miller. Could you like tell me a little bit about like the story behind like how the song came about and then like shooting the video?
The song I did, I was actually my homie that I met when I was going to Loyola. He's a producer, and when I was hanging out, did we record that at?
We recorded that at FNF.
Yeah. So it's a studio on the west side that Lupe runs, and he was like interning / like working at the studio, like recording. So we went over there and like recorded that like way back. I wasn't really thinking about it. So like I said, when we were dropping that 2 week, it was just something that he fucked with, and his roommate Chris, they fucked with the song and were like committed. I was actually gonna drop it. What's funny is like
that's a great song.
Yeah, I was looking. They're the ones that convinced me to, because I was kind of like, I think it was actually like, because sometimes I record multiple versions of the song, so sometimes like I'll kind of get lost as to like which like is it? Yeah. I was listening to an older one that I was like, this doesn't sound that good, and then one day I think we were in the car and they played me the new one that I forgot about. I was like, oh shit, this is actually good. But then like listening to the song too, I think we were thinking about the video. I was watching the Kool-Aid and Frozen Pizza, like the video where he's like, the guy has the boombox, and that was like the inspiration behind it. Yeah. So it was kind of like taking off that. So we were trying to like, that's why like we had the chalk and shit like on the front. So like that's where the idea for the video came from, and then it was just like me and him just figuring out how exactly we could do it. And then like we shot, a lot of it was either in Pilsen, like by my crib, or on the east side where I've been a lot, where like at the beer spot. That's where my homie Andy runs it. So we did like some shots there. It was just kind of like day in the life type shit of us just like driving around. And like I said, it kind of got inspiration from like the Mac Miller video, just because I've been a Mac Miller fan since like 8th grade. And it was just something that like, I think when that idea popped in, and like I said, we can kind of like honor him while like, you know, putting together the dope video. And like I said, I kind of like, I got a good response from people. Just I think like the whole vibe of it all together came out really well. Yeah, it was just like I said, I wasn't gonna drop it at one point. It was just like them convinced me like, yo, we should do it, and then like it was just one of those things like I was like, fuck it, we'll just drop it, and it ended up working out really well.
Is Mac Miller's a big inspiration?
Yeah.
Or who else is?
I'd say Chance, because when I was in high school was when like he was doing all like the shows and stuff, like at like Juggernaut, like he was doing all those shows like the live performances and shit, where he was like playing like 10 Day. So that's like something that I remember like vividly, like because I wasn't doing like any music or trying to do anything at that time. I just remember like that like buzz that he had, like it was crazy. Like in like these little ass stories, he was just like capturing the whole fucking room just by performing. Like it was a crazy like Chance during that time was just like it was such like a wave he was creating in the city. So like just being there was really cool. Like all the Save Money people, I think just like the Chicago scene in general, like Sabas, I think just like I'm very much like, I feel like I very much take a lot of inspiration from everybody and kind of like just take what I can and apply it to like what I'm doing. So I think it's just, I mean, there's so many talented people and so many people that are not just doing like music, but doing it like their own way. Exactly. There's so many different ways. I feel like now what it's showing is like there's so many different ways you can take it. Exactly. There's so many different people doing different stuff. It's like there's not just one way you have to do it. It's like you can kind of figure out and like take bits and pieces from everybody. Because everybody, you know, is having success. It's just how do you find that success, and it's like how do you do it on your own. Because not everything is gonna work for everybody. It kind of just depends on you how it goes. But that's kind of like I think him, like J. Cole. It's just kind of like I'm kind of like a mix because like, even like he was surprised. I love listening to like Uzi. Like Uzi's my shit. Yeah, so like it's just like I think it's just like I don't know if like listening to my music I don't really like. I might not sound like I listen to that. I listen to that shit a lot. So like,
baby style.
Yeah, that's my shit. like it's just. I think it's just. I like to take from a little bit of everything in hip hop. It's just like having like a multiple sounds and stuff, and just for me like I don't think I necessarily like when I'm making the music I don't think about something else, but I know like you could probably hear like bits and pieces of influences or everything else. But I wouldn't say like there's like one thing that I could like. I think that's actually helped like me is that I don't necessarily like sound like one thing. Like one song might sound like something, but another song might sound like something completely different. So it's just like, but that's been like natural. Like I haven't necessarily like tried to do that. It's just kind of like what's come out. So it's ended up working out cool like that.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, because I feel like the songs that like I really like are the songs that you really go crazy on the melody side.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that too.
Yeah, because I feel like you've definitely been able to really have great songs.
Yeah.
Great songs like that.
Yeah, I think it's also just like, I think I've also like, through time I've learned like songwriting and like terms of like taking like a hook. Like I think like I've been able to learn like listen to a song and be like, okay, I get like, this is where I think the hook should go. Like, put the verse here, put the verse here. Like, it's like I said, through time I've learned. Like, at the start, I'm just kind of like trying to throw this shit together however the hell I can. Like, now I think I have a better understanding of like, all right, this is where the hook goes. Like, I can hear it when I'm like putting the songs together and stuff. So I think it's like I said, I think that success has come from just like understanding like, and also like I like watching like interviews and stuff, or like just artists talking about like their processes and like how they go about it, and just taking out like, okay, this person does this, like I might be able to do this, or like just different stuff from other people, and just like I think there's no, I feel like people get stuck trying to like, you can be unique, but also like learning from people that have done the stuff before us, and like just like take, cause no, like they even like, you know, like no idea is necessarily like 100% original. Like most people are just like taking an idea and recycling it in their own. So it's like you're gonna have some stuff that's gonna be similar. I think it's just like paying homage. Like some people think like I made this sound like, there's probably people that have done it before. It's just like you've kind of been able to adapt it. But I think we're all influenced by someone, something. It's just like depends on what, and like you individually.
Yeah. And you talked about the process of making music. So like, what is your process? Do you go to the studio?
I usually
all the
write.
time when you make,
I usually write before.
Old school.
For me, I write before. I think it's just because I'm usually paying. Like now, I'm trying to like build like a studio at the crib and like have my own, so I can kind of like just have unlimited time. But like when I started, because I didn't have like, I was like either I build the whole studio and learn how to do it, or for me it was like I'd rather start working on it early. Like start like working on the music, like going to the studio and just like having songs to churn out. And then I like now at this point I'm trying to like do some shit from the crib. But like when I was going to the studio, I'm like I'm paying per hour, so I'm like if I just stand here writing it in there, I'm gonna do like 2 songs maybe at the most. And it's not that like those will probably be good songs. I'm not saying that, but it's like at that time I was like I'm trying to take advantage of like, you know, if I'm working a regular job, I'm like I gotta get the most out of this shit. Exactly. So I'd usually go in like with 4 or 5, like depending on how long the session is, like I would have already songs written out, and then like getting in there, like working with the same engineer has been helpful. Like every time we work, it's just like a little bit faster. So like I've been able to just get more done in that time. So I think it's just like I also don't mind like when I made Henny Thoughts, we were just in there like drunk off the Henny, and I just wrote like sitting in the booth, I just wrote it out, and then like that's what came out. So I think just I've been trying to try different shit more, like just be creative, because I know like I know there's some artists that just punch it in, some that just off the dome do. I think what I've learned, like I said, like watching the interviews, like I think just whatever works for you. And there's no, like you can try other stuff, but I feel like like some people, I feel like when they hear like people like do it like just like off the dome, like if that works for them, that works for them. Like some people can't do that. Like if like I feel like don't force some shit, like thinking like I gotta do it like this. But I think just whatever works for you and your like process, I think that's the way to go. But I've been trying to like try different stuff, because like I said, like that song came out just off the dome. Like I think just you can get different inspiration depending on how you do it. So it kind of just like how it comes.
I feel you.
On that note, real quick, about like trying some stuff new and stuff like that, how do you like deal with like collaborations and like other artists and like who you choose to work with? I know you work with like Isaiah G. A few times. How do you like decide, and how does that really work?
The stuff with Isaiah came up just like the first song when we did Hoodie was just that song. I think it just popped in my head. Like my part was more like singy, like vibey. I think I just like it felt natural to just put like someone that could spit. And I've said like knowing Isaiah, and like Isaiah was in his class in high school, so I knew him through like school. Okay. So just during that time, I was just it was easy. I mean, we would just reach out to him, send him the song, and I think he was at U of I still. He was at school. Yeah. So I think he ended up sending it to us, and then we ended up. I think the first song it probably could have sounded better if we were able to bring him down, but obviously even being at school, we had to get it that way. And I think when we did Going Home, he was able to like come in and record it. Yeah. So it was just the way that came about though is just I think partly just because like a lot of people I've worked with, just knowing them, like we already have like a relationship. Like I said, I think just a lot of that stuff, just having like knowing people has made it like very easy to just make the song. But I think just it's kind of just making it just popped in my head like, oh, like this person would sound cool. There's been songs that I haven't been able to get a certain person that I wanted to. Like I have a song with Ronnie. I have a song on SoundCloud, but I have a song that I've like tucked away that I've had with him that we did
2018,
like a while ago, that I'm gonna drop on like a tape like probably like later in the year. But like that song just came out because I think we met at a show, and then just like we'd been working like for a little bit, and it just kind of like stuff happens for me. Like collaborations for me are just kind of like They just been like natural.
Man, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that came out. We did that a while ago, and I was trying to get him on the tape, but I know he was working on his stuff, so hopefully we'll be able to get up on some more stuff because he's been real cool too. All this stuff has been really good. Like I was listening to the new project that came out, it was really dope. So I support him. So and like that was crazy. The show we met him at, there was like so many artists. It was like I think Asar was at it, Isaiah, him,
Brittany Carter.
Yeah, it was a bunch of artists. It was kind of crazy. I was telling them like seeing at that event, it's a lot of like people that are really doing their thing in the city that happened to like just be at that one event. So it was cool to see everybody like. And it was like I said, we were to go to that relationship. Like I've known him for like a while, and like being able to see those people. Like I said, I think just you meet people out of stuff, and then shit just kind of works out. Like
I think at the time our homie was managing him. You guys know who Miguelini is? Miguel. Yeah. I think Miguel was managing him at the time, so he was just like, you should definitely get Isaiah and Nico in the studio. I was like, bet, like we gonna make it happen. So
I think I had it in my head, but then it made it easier, like knowing somebody that could get us right to him. Yeah.
So like, how do you sort of deal with like managing like Nico? Like, are you really like setting up plays? Nico, the artist you gotta really watch. Or, like, how does that?
Yeah, like managing Nico.
Hey, I watch his.
Managing Nico fun though. Like this dude, like it's him. Like he's always like wanting to work. Like it could be 3:00 in the morning. I'm trying to go to sleep. And I'm getting a phone call. Like I just came up with this idea. This. Can we make it happen? Like when we did a music video over the summer on a boat, and he's like, let's make it happen. I was like, I bet. Threw the money to the boat, rented it. Yeah, invited these people out. We met some girls, It
was like a monsoon that day. It was like worst case scenario. Like, when we got there, it was like winds blowing. Like when they tried to take the boat out, that shit was shaking. We were like, there was a point when we got back to the front, and we were like, fuck, we just spent all this money. And we're not, like, it's a fucking storm. But it kind of got to a point where, like, it calmed down. Like, I don't know if y'all, in the video, it's raining and shit. Like, it's, like, cold. Like, I don't know if you noticed, like, it was, like, storming, raining, like, sometimes throughout, like, him taking the video, like, it was just, like, nasty rain in that bitch. Where it's just, like, it ended up kind of looking cool. Like, I don't know if, like, but it was just, like, in that moment, I remember a moment where, like, it was just storming. We were like, fuck, we just put all this money.
Amongst the girls were
not getting shit. Yeah, like, they were down in the video.
Few strippers on the
mess,
boat.
Bro.
But yeah, managing this man is fun, though. This man's always trying to work. His work ethic, like, insane. Like, he's always trying to get in the studio. Like, we just left the studio. As we were leaving the studio, he booked the next session. Like, this man was always trying to put in work. Yeah. He always got an idea, throwing things back and forth with me, his videographer. Like, if it ain't a FaceTime call, he's sending me paragraphs, texts of ideas. Like, it's crazy. And then, like, we all be kicking it. Like, we all cool with each other's family, so we'd be at each other's cribs, or like he'd be in my apartment or whatever. He came to my crib the other day when we was uploading the tape. It took like 3 hours, but we was just, rolled up blunt, talking about ideas and stuff. So, yeah, it ain't that hard. You just got to make sure that he's giving you ideas, you able to execute those ideas, Telling me, it's like tapping into his mind.
Plus, I think our relationship, us being, like, us knowing each other, like, it was crazy to hit me the other day that, like, I think now it's going to be like a year or so where we've known each other for like 10 years. Like, I've known him for like a long ass fucking time, so it's just kind of like, knowing somebody that long, like, it's just like,
we were on track across country together.
We were on track together. Yeah, we were on track.
We used to get in trouble. Like, if I got in trouble, I get in trouble first, and I do like 15, 20 push-ups, planks, or whatever. And
then I make fun
of him. He'll laugh at me. He'll laugh, and our coach will be like, Jordan, why you laughing, bro? And so, so it was just crazy. Yeah. So
it's just like naturally come together. So I think that's been the best thing. It's just like he said, like, I can text him in the middle of the night. Where, like, I think it's just like, if I only knew him for a short amount of time, I'd probably be like, let me not say anything. Or just like us having that relationship, I think has helped us like move as quickly as we can, and like just been the most, like, the best thing for us is just like us having that relationship and stuff. Where, like, I see some people, like, I'd rather have it my way than necessarily have somebody that, like, because I know we kind of we started at the same spot where we didn't really know a lot, and then we've kind of like grown together instead of it maybe somebody that just came in and like isn't as invested. I'd rather have it where, like, me and him have really like seen it grow. We put in the time together, and it's been like we both have the same vision for it, instead of it kind of being like somebody that just comes in when you've already kind of done the time for it. I feel like it's kind of like a different. It would be a different relationship because that person wouldn't know like he knows the times, like when I was working there's a restaurant we were working at. He was working in the front. I was working in the dish pit. Like, we've been working, like, we just been together working all this shit. Like, yeah. Like, he come to the back to this fit, like, tell me, all right, like, we got a show, we're going to do this on the weekend. Like, just making plays. Yeah, just, like, we just been working on shit for so long. It's, like, it's just been easy to, like, to do this, yeah.
Yeah, I heard you speak on shows. So how is it like throwing shows? Like,
yeah, like I had a group of homies I went to high school with. It was like 6 of us, and we one of my homies at U of I, he was like, man, we should start a business, and I was like, what you thinking? He was like, I don't know, but this girl already gave me a name and a logo. I was like,
let's get the ball rolling.
Yeah, he's like, I already got him.
I'm like, how you got a name and a logo before we got to know what we doing? So he came. They actually came to the studio when he was recording, and they, we broke it down. We was like, yeah, let's just start throwing shows. Like, I know a couple artists. Like, I already know like Asar. I knew Isaiah. I know A-Dot. I know all these guys. So like, and I'm managing Nico at the time. So I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. Like, let's do this. So we start looking at venues. That's how the shows are. As long as you can find a venue, you can throw a show.
Pretty much, yeah.
My homie, like this is like one of my best friends from high school. He had a sound system, expensive sound system, and then we had different guys doing different things. Like we had a dude that knew how to bartend, another homie that was good with money. So we just all came together. We started throwing shows, and we were just like, our first show though we collabed with Miguel though. So we collabed with him, but then after that we kind of just like started doing it ourselves. Renting out different venues. We were gonna have like one of our biggest shows in 2020 before COVID hit, but like that's just a setback. We're gonna come back with all of that. But
what I told him was funny is because we were trying, like, obviously everyone was trying to do like shows and stuff. Mm-hmm. I told him it kind of helped us like just rethink how we wanted to approach, like, because I feel like when COVID hit, I feel like a lot of people, you could either like stop and be kind of stuck and like just be like, I can't do anything, but like it's kind of one of those times like you just gotta adjust. Like, it's like there's anything in life, you just gotta figure out, okay, what can I do instead of that? And I feel like that was something that just like we just had to like adapt to. And it was like one of those situations that helped us. Like, I think in the moment you're like, damn, like we're gonna do all this stuff, but it's like in the long run we're like, okay, it kind of worked out for whatever it had to be. And then going forward now, hopefully we're hoping in the summer we can get something. Yeah, we'll see.
Do you miss performing? Do you like performing?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it was like, I think a lot of shows, like, it was the performance part, but also just, like, being able to meet people face to face. Like, for me, I feel like social media is cool to a certain degree, but I feel like a lot of people, like, they feel more connected to, like, the music stuff when, like, you're able to see it face to face. Like, I've seen that, like, a lot of people, or, like, even just relationships with artists. Like, a lot of the people that I've been able to, like, me and Ronnie met at the show and like, face. I don't think we probably would have been as cool if we didn't meet face to face and know each other. Yeah. Like, I think just that other level of, like, knowing somebody, it just helped like so much more. So I think that's really what, apart from just performing that, I kind of miss that. Just like I said, like, I also felt like some of the shows we're going to, like, you see the community in it, or like you see a lot of the same people, like you kind of get to know everybody. So I think just that part of it, you definitely miss too. But
and throwing the shows, you meet the people. Like throwing the shows, you meet more people because like I'm messaging artists that I've seen popping off on social media that I haven't met in person yet. So like I met Shigo Turbo at a show. I met Lassa at a show. Actually, I met Lassa when I first met you.
Yeah, the pop-up. Yeah, that's when I first like met y'all before.
And then after I seen that, I was like, yeah, come perform. It's crazy because it's an artist named Bodie that one of my homies went to high school with him. No, I think it's his cousin or something, but like he knew him, and it's like all these connections where I be meeting people. Buddha, you guys know who Buddha is?
Yeah.
He tall, lanky, skinny dude. Afro. Buddha. Yeah. So I ain't noticed, but he was like, and when I was in college, he used to be in the apartment all the time. And then when he came to perform at the show, I was like, I know you from somewhere. And then apparently he was dating like my girlfriend's roommate, little sister, and something. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, the world's small. Like,
that too. I think going to all the shows, you notice how like small Chicago is. Where, like somebody knows somebody. Like, he told me that story. I was like, how the fuck do you know this dude? Like, this is the most random thing. Like, just somebody that knows somebody. Like,
for some years ago.
Yeah, it was a while back where like he just saw him at some. I think we saw him one day. I forgot where we were. Like somewhere downtown, and he was just dropping off food, and we just turn around and see him. And it's like random shit like that, bro. Yeah. You meet people randomly like that.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
It is for real. Mm-hmm. But speak on your new project.
Yeah. So the name of the project is called Ego Death. we were working on it for like a year and like probably a couple months.
Yeah, like
and it's
2019.
just something that I got the idea just so that it's produced by a producer named B. Raza. Me and him met, I think just on some, he's from Pilsen, like me being from over there, just something like we connected. I think just his friend was throwing shows, I think that's how we just like came across, but I just started like recording music to his beats, and at some point I think it just kind of popped in my head. I was like, I kind of want to put this together, because for me I feel like all my projects have been like, I just kind of like got in beats as I can and just kind of put them into stuff, and it was the first project where I was like, all right, I'm going to have one producer, like have it sound uniform, like have it be like a whole idea. Where I was like before, I was just kind of, like I said, we were just kind of figuring out as we go, and this is more like a more thought out thing. But like it just kind of like over time we were able to put songs together where, you know, having features on it, just like it's been like exactly what it's just that process of over this year, just putting the project together, and then the idea for like Ego Death is like if you Google it, the small like the short answer for it is just like being reborn or like death and stuff like that. And for me, it kind of came from, I think, just like over like that year, I had so much shit like happen, like not just on music, but just like personally with like my family and stuff. Just so much stuff happened. And I think it's just been like I said, the development and growth is. I felt like all the like the stuff I've learned. It's just been like going from like you said, like y'all have seen it with growth. It's like the person I was when I started is nowhere near like the same person I was then. So it kind of like signified like the project. But I think just like the project also like it has like there's so many different sounds and stuff in it where it showed like for me like the goal that I wanted for it was like versatility. Where like we did it where like the first song, the 6th song, and the last song, the 12th song really like exemplify the project. Like if you listen to those, I feel like those will really give you like the feel of the project. And we did that because I forgot, I don't remember if it was me or somebody else. I looked up on YouTube. I just stumbled on a video where it was like how to make like the perfect project, or like how people like go about that. And they were talking about like the first song and the last song should give like the vibe. Like you should want to like come into it, giving somebody that, and like the end. So I kind of like took some stuff from that and kind of like applied it to the tape. And then like even like the order, like I didn't figure out, like he ended up figuring out with his roommate like the order, because I got stuck like trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. So for them, like they were able to like piece it together for me, and like it kind of came together just like over time. Like I said, like a lot of stuff has just been like me just like putting in time with the music. And then at some point I was just like, I have like maybe it was like 15 songs, and I was like, all right, let me just like chop it up, put it together, and eventually we just kind of like put it together where now it's 12 songs and a bonus track. So just like putting in that time, and then like I think that's the project really just shows like the growth I've been putting in, and just like versatility through like all the time that we put in. So I'm just like, I told him like, because we've been putting in so much time, and we've been like, I thought I was gonna drop in November, and then we were like trying to get like some last minute stuff. So like we ended up coming up with the cover art during this time, and it was just like we've been really building up towards it. We're finally like, now we can get it out. I think also it ended up working out. What I told him is that like we can start the year off with this, and my goal like this year is to just like drop basically all year. Just like after the tape, like some EPs. Like I want to drop another mixtape in the summer and just like flood the whole entire year. Kind of like basically what I did in that like span of like those 2 weeks for all those videos, but do that throughout the whole entire year. So like this project just kind of like starts that way. That's kind of like the thing I wanted to do with this. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I feel you. Yeah. What are the features that you're gonna have on?
So we got recently, the last one we got was Superboy. We were able to get it through our homie Miguel. He manages him now, so we were able to get him on there. My homie Sebastian Peace and DG, they're from the East Side, and I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's all the features.
Yeah, because there was like we were supposed to have people in there that we just shit doesn't always happen, so we never get them in. But that was like the core group. Then like most recently we were able to get like Super on there, which is cool for me, just because when I was in high school, like when they were heard everybody and shit, like that's what I used to listen to and stuff. So it's just cool to like. The other day it hit me where I was like listening to, where I was like, holy shit, like. Me and him in a song, yeah, it's cool, yeah, it's cool, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's what it felt like more recently, because I showed my homie that me and him were in high school, we were listening to his music, and he was like, holy shit, like, how did you do that? I was like, it's just like, to him, like, I think it didn't really hit me just because I've been in, like, just trying to figure out how to put this together, where, like, when he told me that, and he kind of took me back to, like, me being in high school, I was like, yeah, high school me probably been like, holy shit, like, how did you do that?
Hey,
where it's just like, it's cool, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's cool to be able to do that, and then, like I said, it was cool that, like, it was somebody that we ended up knowing that was able to give us that opportunity. So it's dope to have him on the project. Like I said, then like just the idea of the project, just it being like all this stuff coming together. It was dope to like have that in there as well. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm just excited to get it out. Honestly, just happy to get that shit out there.
No, I can't wait for real because that sounds crazy. And that joint that you was talking about with Ronnie.
Oh, that's just going to.
I know that's awesome. I'm waiting on that.
When it's in,
you got a track out with him already.
Yeah, well, we got that. It's on my SoundCloud, but I think the one that we got in the bag is like way better. That one's decent, but especially because Ronnie's verse on that, crazy. Yeah, like when he recorded, we were there when he recorded because he like he like him. He goes in and like freestyles it basically, like chops it up and does it like there. So like seeing like at that time I hadn't really done that, so seeing him do that, I was like, holy shit, like that was really dope. Like him just being able to like just like he was just spitting all the verses and shit. It was like really dope. So being able to see his process and shit, and it was really dope to have him in there.
So what are your goals for like this year? I know you were talking about dropping more music. Like kind of like expand on that more. And, like, I think what else you trying to do?
Really, like more recently, I've been watching a lot of like Russ's interviews, and like like he dropped like every like day basically. Like he dropped a song for like I don't know how long. It was like months where he was just dropping a song every day. What a big thing I got from him, he was talking like I think a lot of like it's like quality over quantity, and he was like if you can have like quality music and drop a lot of it, like why wouldn't you? Especially I feel like at the beginning, like some people worry about like oversaturating, but I feel like when you're just starting, there's no such thing as oversaturating the market because it's like you're trying to grow the fan base. Like people, I think these are the times when people want to hear more music, especially like the world we live in now. It's like there's a new song dropping every damn day. Like you gotta like keep up. So like in that idea, for me it was just like what I learned in that 2 week span that we did. It was like I saw like the growth and like the progression we just got from just like being on it, just dropping, being constant, just constantly having like work to put out. So I think just like taking that idea was like what inspired like this year where I just want to be like. Also I have like enough. Like I said, I have this tape. I have like enough for like another EP. I got like half another mixtape. Like I already got like stuff developing where I was like I might as well like just continue to drop. And I think just like for me it's just like the more we drop, the more music we put out. Like the progression is just gonna go naturally. It's like we just drop quality stuff. Like I said, like the idea that Russ said where it was like if you can have quality and quantity, like you can just continue to churn out stuff like that. And eventually like I think just what I've noticed is like especially in Chicago, it's like you just gotta get somebody the right person to share it to the right person that's the moment. So I think it's just I was watching a Scooter Braun interview. I don't know if you see like it's called like Blueprint. It's like a series. Yeah. And Scooter Braun like he described like the concept was like as if there's like a Cy Young pitcher and like they basically offer people like however much money to like swing at it. And he's like there's a certain group of people that won't swing at it at all because they're like I'm not gonna hit off this dude who like is a Cy Young winner, like it's like the best pitchers. And then there's a group of people that swing once and they're like, nah, I'm good. And then he said like there's like the group of people that just like overly do it, just continue to fucking swing and swing and swing. And then there's gonna be a point where people are like, why does this dude keep doing that? And then he said like, then you're gonna finally hit. And it's like that's the moment when like all those swings that you missed eventually work. So like that's why I told him like I got the tattoo like shoot or shoot. It's because in my head I feel like the more we like there's no point in just like you might as well just keep shooting, keep trying stuff. Like as long as we're like doing something, I feel like it won't go backwards. Like it's like at this point, it's like motherfuckers are only growing at this point. There's no like, there's nothing to lose. Like it's like I feel like people get like lost in like thinking like they're bigger than they are. Like I feel like just right now, it's just like now's the time more than ever. Just flood the streets, just drop as much as you can and see where it goes. Like I think my like focus is just on like dropping. And then like I can't control necessarily who listens to it. I can't like grab somebody and be like press on this. Like I can only just like give quality stuff, make stuff that would intrigue people, and then just hope like eventually I feel like at a certain point you gotta just the content is gonna get people. Like if you make good content, people are gonna want to pay attention. It's like everybody can do all the theatrics and all that shit. Like that helps, but I feel like at a certain point like some of the best artists just have like the diehards, like those fans that just pay attention to their stuff because they make good stuff. So I think it's just trying to develop that, and that's like really the goal for this year. Is just to continue to develop, and then just see where the work takes us. And I think like I said, the more we do, the more we do, the more like success we've had. So just like continuing that path.
Yeah, definitely. Well, do y'all have any other questions?
Nah, G, that shit was dope.
Being in quarantine, bro, I just been watching stuff. I've been in the lab just studying, bro.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.